That major winner, number 83, Shari Hertel. All right, ladies, go ahead and scooch over there. We'll get some pictures. Yeah, you bet. Let's give these ladies a round of applause. Your bikini hourglass.
Hey, Autumn Athletes, Larry Sorensen here, and today I am going to talk with Shari Hertel and find out what makes her an Autumn Athlete that's not done yet. Before we get started, please remember, if you enjoy our content, like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications. All right, let's begin. Shari, thanks so much for joining us today. Why don't you start us off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
So I'm Shari Hertel. I live in northern Iowa. I've lived in the Midwest my whole life. I was actually born in Minneapolis, and then I grew up in northern Wisconsin where my parents still live. I co-own a supplement company with my best friend. We started that 2 years ago. I do have my bachelor's degree in health and wellness. And then I have 2 kids, a 4-year-old and a 13-year-old. I'm newly divorced. I usually mess up my name somewhere. And I'm currently in prep for my second bikini competition. My first one was actually a couple of weeks ago where I received my pro card. So I will be competing in Minneapolis at my first pro competition, May 25th.
Fill us in on any kind of athletic history that you have had, or is this just new to you, athletics?
I've always had somewhat of a athletic build, right? But in high school, like I did track for a year, I did basketball for a few years, I did like dance and stuff like that. But I'll be completely transparent, I sucked at it. I sucked at it. I was awkward. I wasn't aggressive enough. I'm awkward anyways, but I don't know if it's like, I always imagine kind of like a newly born giraffe. That's kind of what I was. And I didn't have like self-confidence, a lot of different things where I probably, didn't do well at sports. And so I've been into like health and wellness for quite a long time, about 10 years. And like I said, I have my bachelor's degree in health and wellness. I did start jumping into health and wellness because of my oldest son, who is having health issues, autism, behavioral issues, a lot of that kind of stuff. So I started, and I was having health issues too. And we can talk about that, but I'll try to concentrate on one thing. But I was always into health and wellness. And then in the last, probably about, I think it's been about 16, 17 months ago, I started having some health complications where the doctors, I started having like hip issues, bloating issues, pain in my back, all this kind of stuff. Started going to the doctor, and pretty much, I don't love the doctor, but I was trying to find some reasons why this is happening. And a doctor said, "I don't know what's going on, but I think you have IBS." And I'm like, "I don't have IBS. I have some sort of structural imbalance, this, that, whatever." Went to like a pelvic floor therapist, and long story short, I started to try to fix some of these muscle imbalances by starting to work out. And so that December, I started, however long ago, 16 months or whatever, I started to work out and really start diving into weightlifting when I haven't, I've done it here and there in my lifetime, but never consistently, never really focused on it or anything like that. But in a year's time, I only missed the gym probably like 30 times. And so that kind of, and in between there, I said, okay, I'm going to have a focus. I'm going to have a goal of being in a bikini competition. And then so I started focusing on that. And it was a good outlet because I was going through a horrible divorce that took a year. And so that's kind of my background with exercise and health and wellness and all that kind of stuff.
So you mentioned something about earning your pro card. Tell us a little bit, first of all, what does that mean for us that are not in the bodybuilding community? And then just tell us a little bit about that experience.
To earn your pro card means that you can compete at a pro level. And you have to usually win your whatever division. There's certain categories that offer pro cards. The category that I won is Masters, which is 40 plus women's bikini. My first pro competition is May 25th. A lot of people don't do back-to-back shows like this because it's very hard on your body, where you're prepping, your lower calorie, your this, low calorie, high protein, lots of cardio, a cutting phase. A lot of people say as well, there's a cutting and a bulking. The whole experience has been kind of wild because I did, even though a lot of this I am, like self-taught, I had a personal trainer in person for a little bit when I started 16 months ago, where someone could watch me and say, okay, yeah, you're not doing correct form. And then I kind of outgrew, a personal trainer in that aspect. I did hire someone in January of this year to help me with like the prep and the macros and because I've never really done an intentional, what I would say, cut and getting ready for competition. So this whole experience has been pretty wild, where I'm a person that if I'm going to do something and I set a goal, I almost hyper focus on it. So I've really dove into that community. And then my first competition was in Des Moines. And I'm in a natural federation. It's NANBF. The pro card is IPE. And again, all natural, where it's just crazy the lengths that they make sure that you're natural. So before the competition, I actually had to take a polygraph, and I've never taken a polygraph before. Like most people don't take polygraphs, right? And so the guy strapped me up and asked me if I've ever taken any, steroids or any of the banned substances that this federation bans. And honestly, I haven't, but they're like the last 7 years. And I'm like, I don't even remember all this stuff. I've taken a lot of supplements, but not obviously with any intent to modify my competition, right? And so it was a little weird. And then after I won my pro card, I had to pee in a cup, and then they had to test that, and you couldn't leave the building, right? Like you had to win, and then you had to pee in a cup, and I could go into all the type of stuff I have to do before, what they call peak week, which is the week before a competition, but you modify your liquids. So it's like you're dehydrated, okay? You're dehydrated when you're on stage, and then, they're like, okay, pee in this cup. And then you're like, I can't, just give me a second. And then, it's like, how much do you need? And then, you think this much, okay, I can probably do that much. No, they need this much. So I'm just chugging down bottles of water, to pee in a cup. And then obviously there was people there to, cheer me on and to give me support there. And they're all like, where are you? Where are you? I'm in the back. I have to finish this up. Otherwise I can't get my pro card. So it's been overall a really good experience.
Okay. So you mentioned a couple things there. I like to ask people about their training regimens and their approach to diet, nutrition. Bodybuilding is obviously very regimented and very cyclical in that regard. So first, let's talk a little bit about training. Give us a little idea of your training styles and what you do, if you do any cross training, during the regular year, and then might change during your actual prep time.
So like I mentioned before, I've been weightlifting extensively and very consistently for the last 16 months. And I've had a pretty dramatic transformation. And so when I started, I literally did no cardio at all. And I do a split. I work out usually. I mean, I'll take days off here and there, but usually I was working out 6 to 7 days a week. And I have been, unless certain circumstances arise. I do a upper body day and then I do a lower body day. So I do back, and then I do maybe the next day quads, and then the next day I do shoulders, triceps, chest, and then I do glutes and hamstrings, and then I kind of start the cycle over. So my exercises have stayed relatively the same. Um, a, a little bit of modification just based on my body, because I gain muscle extremely fast and I'm more lean on the top of my upper body. So I started to concentrate more on my lower body. So usually there was times where, like sometimes I do 2 leg days if I'm not sore. But the main thing that was changed when I started with prep is cardio. And I'll again be very transparent that I hate cardio. I always stood on this soapbox of I hate cardio and I'm losing weight, not doing cardio and all this stuff. But that's the biggest change, where we started in January with 20 minutes of cardio. And then closer to the competition that I just had a couple of weeks ago, I was doing 30 minutes fasted cardio in the morning, and then I was doing 30 minutes after my workout or in the evening. And I try to change it up where I do bike, I do stair climber, which I really hate that stair climber. Treadmill, sprinting and walking, and sometimes running outside. I walk a lot with my kids to the park. And now I am doing, again, he just changed it, where I literally am running most of the time for 30 minutes. Just because, again, my legs, he's trying to get my hamstrings to pop, my glutes to pop for this next competition.
So tell us a little bit about your approach to diet and nutrition, how you go about doing it. And, are you running a caloric deficit for 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 12 weeks? Just fill us in on your overall approach to diet and nutrition to get ready for these shows.
I've been tracking macros for quite a while. And before I started prep, I was, on leg days, because I was, again, trying to build my legs. I was sometimes up to 2,500 calories. And again, higher protein, higher carbs on that day. When I'm in not a prep, I'm not afraid of healthy fats at all. So I didn't even, to be honest, I wasn't even really tracking fats. In January, when I started prep, he started me at 1,900 calories, and that quickly kind of started to go down. For a while though, probably for 2 months or something like that, I've been at 1,500 calories, counting macros, where I'm at 140 grams of protein, 125 grams of carbs, and about 50 grams of fats.
So we're going to switch gears here just for a second. I want to talk philosophy a little bit. What motivates you at 40 years old to keep setting these goals and pushing yourself hard to reach them?
A couple of different things. I have a pretty big social media following where, to be honest, it helps me stay accountable. So last year, I remember I still I just looked at the post not too long ago where I said, yeah, it's on my bucket list to be in a competition, right? And again, I mentioned earlier that when I focus on something, it's just my personality type. And if I say that I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something. And then it's been a huge focus and a huge motivation for my mental health, where I've been through a lot of stuff in my life. And I've always, I don't know, I like proving people wrong. I like to motivate people, and I like to be kind of that, oh my gosh, I can do it, right? If Shari can do it through this divorce and her being 40 and not having any experience with weightlifting, I like to be that person for people, just because I think that a lot of people look at someone like me and not know my story, and they're like, "Oh, she has," this drives me crazy, by the way, "She has good genetics." That's what people say. "Oh, it's easy for her. She has good genetics. She's always been blah blah." And I haven't been, right? I mean, I have literally had every excuse in the last year and honestly life. I have chronic Lyme disease. Okay, I used to have chronic migraines. I don't have good genetics. I have MTHFR, which honestly help. I can't detox very well. And I have like PCOS, which leads to blood sugar issues and weight management issues. And again, I've had a lot of health complications and stress and you name it. And I think that's my motivation to say, hey, look at me. Look at me. I've overcome this. I can overcome this. You can too. I always feel like that's my motivation to show people that it can be done.
All right, so we're going to have a little fun here just for a second. I want to ask you some rapid fire questions just to find out a little bit more about you. So if you are going to go exploring, would it be the jungle, a cave, or the ocean?
The ocean, hands down. I love water. Water's like gives me my peace for sure.
You're in the gym, or maybe even you're backstage ready to go out on stage. What's the hype song that's on your playlist and playing in your ears?
I have so many. It's usually some like hardcore like R&B or hip hop or something like that, but that completely changes. It's usually, I don't know, something crazy. Like that people I like a lot of different types of music. So a lot of people just think, I don't know, that I'm a Karen with music because I'm a 40-year-old mom. And I like listen to some crazy hip hop that, like big bass or even like from the 2000s or something like that.
Horror movie, action movie, comedy.
I don't watch a lot of movies anymore. I but probably a horror movie.
You had a hard day, just want to chill for a minute. Is it going to be TV, book, or podcast?
Exercise. The only time that I watch TV really is if I'm doing my cardio. And it's usually some really horrible dating show or something. I do like documentaries a lot. And I do watch those, but since I've been in training, not really. So I guess TV.
Who is your favorite all-time male bodybuilder and female bodybuilder?
I always have to say Arnold. I mean, because it's Arnold. I mean, like he's like the OG, right? I mean, he's the one that like completely revolutionized everything. For female, to be honest, I can't even. I follow a few on like Instagram and Facebook and that kind of stuff, but I don't really know. I know it's weird, but I just I have like celebrities to me are just normal people, right? I mean, there's people on my like I'm part of a Facebook group that's like a competition type of group where, there's bikini wellness, all these people in there. I probably have more like girl crushes in there than I do celebrities, just because um I don't know. They're like real. I'm not saying, other
Yeah.
people aren't real people, but they're just more relatable to me.
Well, Shari, thank you so much for joining us today and letting us know what makes you an autumn athlete that's not done yet. Before we wrap this thing up, I want to give you a chance to just give us some final thoughts.
You can do it too. You just need to set that goal. And the biggest obstacle to people that I've seen is staying consistent. If I make the excuse, say I'm tired one day, or I've had a bad day, or I've had a stressful day, or I don't feel like doing it, it allows that to be a continual excuse for days or more frequently. Sometimes you have really good workouts, and then other workouts you're like, that was all right. You made it to the gym, right? And you put in some effort, and that's the thing that creates consistency and habits.
Well, there you go, folks. Shari Hertel. She is definitely an autumn athlete that's not done yet. Remember, keep moving, set your own goals, train hard to achieve them. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time.